Peter Hallett, Senior Advisor for Risk Reduction at FENZ, but he's speaking to us in his capacity as a delegate of the Firefighters Union. Appreciate your time, Peter. Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine.
So we're focusing here on the wider prevention branch now. Wildfire specialists, we've just been talking about part of that. But tell me what else is happening, and specifically in terms of the risk reduction workers.
Firstly, can I just acknowledge that many of the points that were made in the previous caller, we accept broadening the focus of specialisation is not ideal. And so that would lead us into a similar approach with the actual risk reduction roles. Back in 2021, there was another restructuring within FENZ that split the then fire risk management role, which was a jack of all trades, master of none, did everything in the built environment, risk and the community education, into two separate roles, which was risk reduction for built and community readiness and recovery for education. That was dictated to us by then the Deputy National Commander, now the Chief Executive, Kerry Gregory. There was no discussions on that. And so we went out into a role that we specialised in, basically, and now the new proposal is to take us back into the one role, the one circle, one name, jack of all trades, master of none, and try and specialise within that role, I suppose, and that is causing us some concern.
So back to the future, but tell me what the actual concerns about possible impact would be. You've used the words jack of all trades. Is that what can happen, that the individual specialties risk getting lost?
Absolutely. For example, if I use myself, I'm looking after the built environment, looking after building compliance, new buildings, fire investigations, things like that. But new buildings to make sure that when people occupy, members of the public are safe, and that they're also safe for our firefighters to enter. If there's a fire now, that expertise from myself and various other members of the risk reduction team will be potentially watered down if you put somebody in there who has had, say, experience and great experience, I'm not demeaning it in any way, of education and talking to school children, which is vitally important. But if you get them to try and do a role that our team currently do, then that's going to end up with potential disaster.
Can we just focus a little bit more on what you're just talking about there, building compliance? Again, we've seen the impacts of issues. We've seen the impacts of wildfires of late. We've also had one devastating example in recent years, and there's been more than one, of what happens when buildings are allegedly not compliant. Again, is this where they're just two words, but what sits under them are very, very important?
Oh, absolutely, and so is the will of the organisation to address it. Now, unfortunately, I've been around too long, and I sat through I didn't sit through, I was at the Empire Hotel fire back in 1995, where we lost 6 lives, and I woke up to hear about Loafers Lodge, and I thought, oh hell, we've done nothing, we've learnt nothing, we've changed nothing, and having the people behind that, I know MB have launched a review into building fire safety, and I hope that addresses a lot of the problems that may have been at Loafers Lodge. I don't know exactly what was there, but we see buildings all the time. Buildings change use. We see buildings changed for accommodation or proposed to change for accommodation that don't have the correct safety systems in them. They don't have sprinkler systems or evacuation schemes, and they're ready to occupy like tomorrow. And we pick them up and go, oh, no, we can't do that because there is another disaster just waiting to happen.
Can you argue that particular role is not our frontline role?
I would. FENZ are attempting to argue that, and I would actually disagree. It's always been considered an operational frontline forward-facing role, and we interact with, say, members of the public, building owners, fire investigations, people who have fires. We interact with them every day. We're out there in uniform addressing it, and I think the work that we do really supports primarily the public, but we are very focused also on protecting our firefighters to make sure that work that they go, buildings they have to enter into, have the right systems in there to adequately make them do their job. So I'm going to argue that it's frontline and it's operational. Friends are arguing the difference.
Firefighters Union, you're speaking to us as your role as delegate there. How would you speak about what the process has been here? I know some of these decisions, some people are going to probably find out before Christmas. We're talking about, I think, overall in the restructuring, perhaps some 700 roles impacted in one way or another, but a net loss of 140. But how quickly is this happening, and generally how would you describe how the process is going from the union's perspective?
Well, the process started from an appalling poor delivery of the news. 6 o'clock on a Monday evening, staff got an email to say, hey, attend the meeting tomorrow and we'll talk to you about your job. Appalling. We had phone calls from distressed, angry, upset people all night long. So that started off a poor process for things. Needing to reapply for your own job, but calling a different job title, giving you a different job prescription, whilst not great, I'm not seeing a huge amount of loss in the risk reduction community readiness roles, if you like, apart from maybe some vacancies which I intend not to refill. But it doesn't stop at this line of there, and I'll call it frontline. It doesn't stop here. We've got all of the backroom people, and no disrespect to them, but we've got all of the people who support us, like app support, IT support, business analyst, intel and planning, who support us hourly, daily, and sometimes that's needed on an hourly, daily basis. All of those people have been disestablished. They plan to centralise some of those roles to Wellington. Not many, and by who, how, and why. A lot of it's planned to be, I suspect, outsourced to a call centre, and a lot of the times I don't have, and my team in risk reduction don't have time to wait for a call centre to get back to us in 1 day, 3 days, or a week. We need sort of answers like today, and they're taking that provision away from us.
Appreciate your time too. Thank you.
All right.
That is Peter Hallett, who is Senior Advisor for Risk Reduction at FENZ, but he's been speaking to us in his capacity as a delegate of the Firefighters Union. As we said earlier, the PSA and the Professional Firefighters Union are trying to stop this restructuring through the Employment Relations Authority.